a very popular romance and fantasy book festival at the Gaylord Texan, now suddenly canceled, just like that, just 2 weeks before it was set to begin. Organizers say they couldn't meet the venue's financial requirements.
Hello and welcome back to another video. I am so glad you're here. On this channel, I talk about news, controversies, and drama on the bookish side of the internet, and I certainly hope you'll stick around. So we just talked about a bookish event company, and here we are again. Luckily, we have no one going on an unhinged Facebook Live while operating a motor vehicle. Gotta be thankful for their little things. No, but this is a huge situation that has been making the rounds in the book community and beyond. That's correct. This event is getting the kind of press we saw with A Million Lives, where it's actually bubbled over into the mainstream news. And of course, I'm referring to the Dreamers and Readers event that was supposed to happen March 6th through 8th in Dallas. But naturally, in true lore fashion, I had to do some digging on the host company. So before we get into the current happenings, we have to go back in time for some more context. So the company in question is called Fantastique Collection, and it's run by a woman named Leslie Hernandez. She was formerly an event DJ and MC, but after COVID, she started an event planning business with a focus on weddings. In 2023, she decided to combine her love of fantasy and event planning into Fantastique Collection, a company which grew to put on fantasy balls all over the country. So if you were to Google Fantastique Collection prior to the cancellation of Dreamers and Readers, you'd find a mixed bag of opinions, but I'd honestly say they skewed more positive. The pictures and videos from events show beautiful venues, people having a great time, and extremely well-themed decor. So historically, it does seem like not every event has been a bust. There are complaints here and there if you are looking for them, but generally small things. And even in the cases where people had negative things to say, they seem to still have a good time overall because of the people they met, getting dressed up, things like that. So the earliest event that I found with overwhelmingly bad reviews was the Starfall Ball NJ 2025. This took place the weekend of February 14th in Parsippany, New Jersey, about 35 miles outside New York City. Now, of course, there were plenty of people raving about what a great time it was, but this one took much less digging to find out how it went wrong. Here is a post from a Facebook group for attendees. Is anyone else starting to feel scammed? There were 0 bookish goodies for the swag bag, no t-shirts, this I could have forgiven because they are delayed, light food equals cheese and crackers, there's no open bar, it's a cash bar and it's not even a full bar. Adding that, when we complained to Leslie, she said she was going to refund us $35 and to email her for that refund. Still haven't seen any official written announcement of the refund or the refund itself. I'm going to add to this post every time there's another thing. Not enough seating at the fashion show. Ran out of wristbands, so people had handwritten papers. Won't approve my post in the official group. This is like an attendee made group, so this isn't like affiliated officially with Fantastique. Because they don't want people to know about all of these issues. The first 100 people to buy tickets and were promised gifts still haven't received them. The festival did not follow the set schedule. It ran an hour early and there was a ton of leftover time. There were not a lot of vendors. For $500, people, please tell me I'm not the only one. So the swag bags were actually like cheap tote bags that didn't even have a logo printed. Instead, you had to decorate your own bag, and you could choose from a variety of children's goodie bag items like blow pops and glow sticks. So this is the table, and yeah, you just put together your own bag, which is ridiculous. This is fun if you're like 8 years old. So in regard to that first 100 ticket mention, when tickets went on sale in 2023, over a year before the event, the first 100 people to purchase tickets were to get a special gift. So despite having the names and contact info of these folks the entire time, they didn't get sent until after the event, and even then a lot of people never received them. Hello, this email is going out to everyone on our first 100 ticket buyers list. Please feel free to disregard this email if you already received the gift. We have a list of people who have reached out to let us know they did not receive their gift. As a reminder, the gift was a tote bag that only the first 100 ticket buyers got. We only had a few extras left, so we ordered more in case others needed them too. We deeply apologize for not taking care of the missing items sooner. My own focus and energy has been going to shipping the shirts and swag bags as well as partial refunds first, so my apologies that this has gone unaddressed. We understand those who have commented and reached out have been waiting, and we greatly appreciate your patience. They don't have a choice. We are also sending another small token with the tote bag for the wait you have experienced. If you did not receive the tote bag in the mail, please let us know and make sure to send us your updated shipping address if we do not have it from shipping t-shirts. As it is a holiday today, these envelopes will go out tomorrow morning. Be on the lookout for a white mailer. Please let us know if you have any questions. Thank you, Leslie Hernandez. Now, from my researching, up until this point after the event, no one had received one. That's not to say that absolutely zero people did, but if they did, they weren't talking about it. There were also supposed to be t-shirts that were allegedly delayed in transit, and while some people eventually received them, there are still plenty of people that say they haven't. So the weekend had 2 days of events. The first night, there was a more casual festival with vendors, more of like a traditional book event situation. Attendees were told there would be an open bar, but instead it ended up being a cash bar complete with $16 themed cocktails. Now, if I'm paying $500 for an event ticket, there better be an open bar. Since an open bar was advertised, they did refund guests for that, a whole whopping $40, which is, you know, interesting given the $16 drinks, including a tip that barely covers 2 drinks. And I mean, I'm sure that isn't a big deal to some people, but I would like to have a few drinks at this kind of event, and I'm sure other people would too. I have to imagine they did have like less expensive drinks like beer or wine as options, but it's a principle. And listen, I only read the first 2 books of the Court of Thorns and Roses, but Tamlius? I tried to Google if that was like a typo or maybe to prevent a lawsuit, and all I got as a result was tamales. So I'm guessing it's one of those options. So following up the event, Leslie did send out an official email. This TikToker, Cassidy, attended the event and then gave her thoughts on what the email said.
Okay, so I literally just got back home from traveling all day, and we just received word from Leslie. We just received official email. So basically, she like thanks us for attending. Okay, cool. Nice. Love that. And then she basically resays the part where she is going to refund people through Zelle, Venmo, or PayPal for the cash bar when it was supposed to be an open bar. She did tell us that night that she was going to refund us like that night, and we still have not received our money yet, and we were some of the first people to do it, but I understand like she's hosting this event, so grace can be given as long as we actually get our refund for that portion. The second portion is about the t-shirts that we have not received. So she's sending out a form to make sure that we have our most accurate shipping address and to rest assured that we will get our event shirts. It would also be nice to know what they look like, because I don't know what it looks like. But that's just like in general, because I just don't know. You can see some of my glitter left over. Okay, and then at the bottom here, like she's saying, where's my little finger? She's saying that she understands that there were shortcomings from the event, and that to improve as a business, to fill out another link that she posts below this to let them know what our critique is and what they like, what we noticed, which for one is just slightly annoying because like we've obviously all made our comments, questions, and concerns like be voiced on the group chats that she is in, some of the ones that she has even created herself. And so like I don't really understand like why we're having to go through more work and go through a Google form to do that, but that might just be me being picky after, well, or bitter after me being kind of like bamboozled by this event a little bit. So I guess stay tuned to see what even actually comes from this, but the good news is she has emailed everyone, and everyone should be getting this email, and hopefully there's a little bit of retribution for what we missed out on this weekend. So if you were at the event, go check your email and do your links, because we gotta get something sorted out, and we can't have any more bad events from this company, please.
And here is part of the survey that was sent out. So the main part I'm focusing on here, it says, "We sincerely apologize for those who got stuck outside the gate during the ball around 5:55 p.m. Our understanding is that the gates were closed for about 17 to 23 minutes. We fixed it as soon as we were aware of the situation. We also extended dinner service from 7 to 7:15 to help accommodate those who are outside the gate during that time. We understand this was an inconvenience to your experience, and we apologize for the delayed entry. If you have additional feedback you would like to voice, please leave it here." Oh yeah, must have forgotten to mention that attendees were stuck outside of the venue. So the way this is worded is actually kind of misleading about what happened. So despite 1,200 tickets to the ball being sold, the organizers told the venue there would only be 900 attendees. I guess they thought 300 people just like wouldn't show up to a ball that they dropped $500 a head on. Unfortunately, I can't see what the post says that I'm about to read is in response to, but a couple of comments explained more of what happened. Also, a lot of guests, including myself, were locked out of the ball until 6:30 to 6:40 p.m. due to them not paying the venue enough money for the amount of people that attended. They paid for 900 guests, but far exceeded that limit. I also heard that possibly that was like a fire code violation, but rumors, I don't know. By the time we got in, most of the food was gone and we didn't have much time to eat and grab drinks before it was getting packed away. I'm hoping they compensate us for the 1.5 hours of the ball that we missed due to that negligence. And the sad part is we didn't even get the thing acknowledged on stage. We literally were panicking outside that gate, about 30 cars on the side of a busy road with limited visibility due to weather. Very dangerous to wait there for more than 30 minutes, and lost time we should have been inside, time we paid for. An apology on the stage would have spoke volumes. I agree. That would have been something good to include. I mean, just sometimes admitting your wrongdoings and saying I'm sorry is very helpful, goes a long way. Anyways, an attendee named Shannon, who actually did a bunch of videos talking about this event that I will link, or at least link her account so you can find them. She wasn't one of the people who was stuck outside, but she did have like a differing opinion of what happened than the event organizers mentioned in their survey.
So we were having a generally good time at this point. When we finished eating, people started in the Discord chat like, hey, the gates are closed and we can't get in. So allegedly what happened is, this is all third-party information, but from people who spoke to the owners of the castle, allegedly only 900 heads were paid for. Reminder, 1,200 tickets were sold. Math ain't mathin', okay? So the gates were closed, and in the apology video, they were only closed for like 23 minutes. That's bullshit, and we know that is not true. People have timestamps. They did not get into the castle until like 6:30, 6:45, whatever. So at that point, they had to wait in the massive line for a coat check. And by the time they get upstairs, there was no food. And I know they said they extended dinner 15 minutes. There was no food left. And I know this because I was up there. So these poor people who not only were probably pooping their pants that they just spent all this money to come to this event and couldn't even get in for whatever, whatever the reason was, they were locked out. And now there's no food and you have an open bar. Like, I'm sorry, that is a liability. As somebody who has worked in the food and bev industry in the past, that is a lawsuit waiting to happen. So, why there wasn't going to be food throughout the event is like, I don't know. That's beyond me. So these poor people didn't have food. Then, okay, so dancing's happening. I'm here for the vibes. Like, I just love seeing people's gowns, which by the way, so up to this point, I was ready to buy tickets to other events by this organization.
She keeps going, but that was the part I wanted to show. So a couple other things to note. One of the add-on events was a high tea. This was $100 and took place in one of the ballrooms, and this is how it was sold. High tea, $100 per person, limit of 125 attendees. Enjoy an exclusive white glove service tea party the morning of the ball with our inner circle of influencers and cosplayers at the Sheraton Parsippany Hotel. This event will be from 9 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. in the Morris Room of the hotel. Attendees will get to have editorial portraits taken. Psst. Our photographer has been featured in Vogue, Jonathan Allison Photography. High tea attendees will also receive an exclusive gift. And so after the event, Leslie said this in their Discord in response to people's kind of complaining. Hi guys, Kaylee, who I believe is her assistant, let me know someone said they spoke directly with me at the tea party. I believe Brandon and I, who is like the co-owner, and I think her fiance, I'm not 100% on that, but it's like the co-owner of her business. Brandon and I informed a handful of people at the high tea about the gifts. I vaguely remember speaking to a couple people explaining that it was a miniature teacup thing. I do not remember telling anyone anything about spoons, but that has not changed. Brandon also told me he said honey dipper when he spoke to people as best as he can remember. Also, I am unsure where this concept of it was something to help you get ready for the ball. My only assumption is the Eventbrite page may have been read incorrectly. Please see the attached. I understand people are saying, what am I supposed to do with this? Referring to the miniatures. Our intention was for it to be a cute little trinket for your bookshelf. If you don't like it, that's okay. You can throw it away if you like. So unfortunately, I was unable to find any pictures of the actual event, but there are multiple accounts of it essentially being the hotel's continental breakfast, like in a private room, basically like what there would be at a business conference. So what was the gift, you might be wondering? Well, it is this teeny tiny plastic tea set. You barely even notice it in this picture. And these are available on Temu in case anyone is jealous and wants to purchase one of their own. You can actually get 24 of them for $13.52. So just a couple more things before we move on. The A Million Lives book tragedy took place the first weekend of May 2025. Fantastique took this opportunity to make a post that is clearly in response to that situation, patting themselves on the back. In light of recent events, we just wanted to take a moment to say thank you to all the incredible authors and vendors who join us at our events. Thank you for trusting us, thank you for adding value to our events, and thank you for being a part of the magic we create. Some of our favorite messages are from authors or vendors who tell us they sold out or had a blast or just felt taken care of while with us. And the fact that many of you come back, we are eternally grateful. These are just a few of the authors and vendors who joined us in New Jersey. Please follow and share any. And then, yeah, she lists a bunch of, tags a bunch of them. So, of course, there's a chance that this post isn't related to A Million Lives, but I am completely convinced that that's what's being referred to when they write in light of recent events. So over the summer, people were still waiting on refunds, and Leslie and her assistant decided it would be a good idea to just block them when they inquired in the official Facebook group. So people took to the unofficial group for attendees to discuss. Just checking if anyone has been blocked from the official Fantastique community group on Facebook. I haven't made critical posts or comments in there besides liking other people's critical comments. But when I went to check if there were any updates about refunds, I still haven't received mine, nor has my group. I just saw that I can no longer find the group, and when I see it tagged in other posts, it is no longer a clickable link. And then someone replied, I made a post here about receiving my refund and hoping that this nightmare is over soon for everyone, and I got removed from their group, and when I tried to rejoin, I was denied. So keep that in mind. This person made a post in the unofficial group and then got kicked out of the original, like, official group because I'm pretty sure Leslie or her assistant are also in the unofficial group, but like, that's crazy. Kicking people out of receiving official communication because of their posts in an unofficial private group is crazy. Oh yeah, that's what I just said. My friends and I all haven't received refunds, filled out the missing refund form, and haven't gotten any responses about it via email. I didn't want to join the class action lawsuit originally, but they're really forcing people to take that direction. They are desperately trying to save face right now. I was blocked as well. I would expect to see more and more people get blocked until all that's left are those who only talk positively about the company. At least this will only benefit us with the lawsuit. Leslie is only making it worse for herself. I have also been blocked as well, although I have not been active on that Facebook group since March or April. Incredibly unprofessional behavior followed by incredibly unprofessional behavior. How am I meant to get my refund now, even though I've emailed 4 separate times and completed the form? Seems counterproductive, doesn't it? This is a crazy thought and purely speculation, but I wonder if maybe they're not only censoring us, but also jerking the responsibility of refunding everyone. I mean, I would say yes. And then, on July 15th, they decided to pause the Discord. We have paused our use of Discord for Fantastique. We currently do not have the bandwidth to monitor or moderate it properly. We also need to revisit its design, structure, and use. We may relaunch it at a later time, but for now, we will be directing our focus to this Facebook group, Instagram, and email correspondences for communication avenues. Blah, 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 has been stellar at letting me know if I'm missing something or if someone is waiting for something, so a big thank you to her. So that's one more channel of contact removed. Although there were several events between the New Jersey Starfall Ball and the Dreamers and Readers Festival, there weren't too many people being loud about them, so I assume they went well enough. But that brings us to the Throne of Starlight Ball, another event in Parsippany, New Jersey, and this was to take place January 30th through February 1st, 2026. On December 8th, the following announcement was made on their Instagram. Throne of Starlight Ball announcement. Official update, Throne of Starlight Ball. After much evaluation, we have made the difficult decision to postpone the Throne of Starlight Ball to 2027. While we were excited to create a truly spectacular experience, ticket sales have not met the level required to fully produce the event. Transparently, at our current level of ticket sales, Fantastique would lose around $150K to put on the event. Rather than compromise the experience or risk financial instability that could affect our ability to continue offering future events, we are choosing to reschedule this event for a later season when we can ensure it receives the production and grandeur it deserves. What this means for attendees. All existing ticket holders will receive an email directly from our team and through Eventbrite this week notifying you of the postponement with personalized options, including ticket transfers, credits, or refunds. Our goal is to make this process smooth for everyone. What this means for our community. This decision in no way represents the state of our other upcoming events. Really. Our Phoenix Winter Fantasy Balls, Dreamers and Readers Festival, Vintage Fairy Tale Ball, and Fantastique Starfall Ball all remain on track. However, with any transfers from the Throne of Starlight Ball, the number of available tickets may decrease for these events. This means events that still have tickets available may sell out. We know this is disappointing news for everyone who is looking forward to the ball. We are just as sad that we will not be able to celebrate with you all, but I want to assure you that we are constantly working to provide imagination, excellence, and quality. Sometimes that means choosing to pause to protect the dream and the people that make it special. We would rather deliver something truly extraordinary later than something rushed or diminished now. Thank you for your continued support, belief, and understanding. Your excitement and participation in our community fuels every realm we build. With the utmost gratitude, Leslie and the Fantastique Collection team. So, because they would be operating at a loss, they decided to pass that on to the ticket holders. People travel for these events. They buy plane tickets, they rent cars, they pay for hotel rooms, they buy their ball gowns. Canceling or postponing an event like this is so much more than just the cost of the ticket, which for this event range from $400 to $500. So even if you are local, that's still a ton of money. I understand that $150K is a very large sum of money to lose, but that doesn't seem like it should be the problem of attendees and vendors. She starts selling tickets years in advance for some of these events, which I'd normally say is a great thing, but it seems to be working against her, and I can't tell when this event was announced and tickets went on sale because there was essentially zero promo, but based on her other events, I'm guessing it was at least a year ago. So it seems fair to assume that when the previous New Jersey event with all those complaints took place, the venue was already booked for this because they were at the same venue, or supposed to be. I don't really even know what could have been done at that point, but as a business owner, she should have been putting more of her energy into selling tickets to this event in order to prevent this from happening. Looking at the Fantastique Instagram, they announced Dreamers and Readers in May 2024, almost 2 years in advance. And despite Throne of Starlight meant to be about 6 weeks earlier, there are nearly zero mentions of it on their account. So perhaps part of the problem here is a lack of advertising. So let's take a look at some of the comments from the post canceling the event. Still was not refunded for the last New Jersey event after multiple emails and forms submitted, not for the high tea or the open bar. A couple people comment, they say, "Hi Brandy, we just searched for your name in our inbox and couldn't find an email. Please DM us your email address so we can better search for it. Thanks." I mean, I'm inclined to believe the person that said they didn't get a response, but what do I know? They canceled their 2025 New Year's Eve event in Denver 2 weeks before due to a health emergency and promised full refunds that would start going out the following week. Between me and my two friends, we had to send multiple emails, and two of us ended up having to dispute the charge with our credit card companies to get our money back, late January. The dispute was finalized in March after the deadline for their response had passed. So frustrating. Also, never got our t-shirts, replacement swag bags, or our special high tea gift, which we paid an upcharge for, that we were promised from that event either, even though they made us fill out order forms and emailed them back after the event was over. Same, still waiting for my swag bag and my husband's. Not that I care anymore, but we submitted the form multiple times and nothing. I haven't received the first 100 gift either. It's almost like we escapists are looking to escape for a night, not pinch every penny we barely have. Funny that. A TikToker that goes by the Kuwabara, which I think is an anime thing, I couldn't swear, but anyways, it doesn't really matter, who was supposed to attend, has made a really good series to explain his experience with this event.
December 8th, 2 months now, we got an email from the organizer of Fantastic Balls. They said that the event that just would have been this last weekend was canceled. Or postponed, as they like to call it. Okay, here it is, by the way. Here you go. Pause to read. But in short, you pretty much got your options. Keep your tickets, transfer your tickets, receive credit, or receive a refund on your tickets. And you know what most of us did? And I say us because we were all in a group chat at the Fantastique Facebook page. We all decided, most of us, decided to get the refund. Cool, the form's right there. We fill out the form, bang. Did I get my refund? I did. I got most of it. I got the tickets, but not the fees from Eventbrite. Now, you could pause to read, but this is from Eventbrite's own page. This clearly says that there are two exceptions that canceled and postponed events. If an event is canceled or postponed, refunds will be for the entire purchase. That includes the ticket price and the ticketing fees. So I was expecting to get the amount of money that I paid for back, and that was not the case. So it has been 2 months of waiting for the fees to be refunded, but I also feel extremely bad because there was a bunch of people, probably as far as I am aware, at least 6 to 7 people, I know, stupid joke, that have not received a dime from this company. Now, you're thinking okay, well, maybe the tickets weren't that expensive and they're just waiting, whatever. No, these tickets were very expensive. They were from $400 to $500, give or take, wherever it was, right? Wherever your ticket landed. And including the fees were well over $75, $80 a piece. So it was a lot, right? So you're expecting somebody who paid that much money to wait 2 months to receive any of that? I'm sorry, what now? Here's the other weird thing. We got an email from Eventbrite saying hey, can't wait to see you at your event this weekend. And then Fantastique had to respond and email us all make sure that we were good. Because look, right here, they had to clarify, but it's weird because in Eventbrite, they didn't change the date. They only changed the date in the details. They didn't change it on the actual thing. So Eventbrite still thought that the event happened.
I did edit that down a little bit. That's why it ends so abruptly. But anyways, why would they do that? I wonder. No, but for what it's worth, it has been updated now to say postponed, but damn, how shady is that? I suppose it could have been an oversight, but I personally don't believe that. And then another video by the same person. Some of the information is repeating what was in the first video, so I edited it down a bit. But again, all of these will be linked in the description if you want to watch them in full. And I'm sorry, he's just gonna jump into it kind of aggressively because of my editing.
They are really playing games with messaging people back because they're so... They have their heads up their asses because of an event that's coming up in March. Now, before this event, there was supposed to be some hype, you know, you should be drumming it up, asking about authors that are going, blah, blah, blah. It was radio silence for this event. Radio silence. Fantastique did not post a single goddamn thing from March of last year till the apology in December when they were like, no, we're not going to do this because we're going to lose money on it and blah, 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 blah. We know you did not pay the venue. I know you did not pay the venue because I called the venue and I was like, hey, how come this event isn't happening? Oh yeah, they signed a contract for that weekend and they did not pay us at all, which I assume for a venue like that, you'd have to put a good amount of money up front, and they did not put anything apparently. So what exactly have you lost in attempting to plan this event? Because I know other people that were going to go to this event had plane tickets that now they have to cancel, had hotels that they had to cancel, had a whole thing because they were coming from other places. And you just shrug it off and you're like, oh, well, now you're not even giving people the tickets back. You're not even refunding the tickets that they asked to get tickets refunded because what? You're waiting for money to come back from some other funds? If you fund an event, the money should be from that event. That money should not go anywhere. If you take money from an event and put it to another thing, now you are robbing Peter to pay Paul? Isn't that the term? I don't know. Anyway, get back to me. And again, I'm going to comment some of the influencers down here that are associated with them, and maybe they'll get back to you. Or maybe they'll talk to you again, because I'm getting tired of this. But I'm going to do this every couple of days, because this is what's necessary. Because it's bullshit that you do this to smaller people. Me, I have a couple of thousand people here on TikTok that are my friends, that are people that I post for Gunpla, that I post cosplay for, that I'm whatever. But I have talked to people and met people that were supposed to go to this event, and they are struggling because the tickets, some of them were upwards of $500 each. So now some people are out $1,000 if it was a couple going. $1,000 plus because the fees that you're not refunding either. You know, that's the total bullshit. That is the biggest bullshit. So, yeah, I will say it. Leslie, hey, why don't you get back to me? And why don't you get back to the people that are missing the fucking money that they deserve? It's already been over a month and a half, approaching 2 months now. So it shouldn't be so hard to get people the money that they deserve, because they deserve this money because you strung them along for a whole goddamn year.
Now, I didn't call the venue, so I can't confirm what he said about the company not paying. It doesn't sound too far off to me, but again, I'm not making any claims about this. He also touches on something I feel like we've seen over and over, which is organizers using money from one event to fund another event. This is not a sustainable way to run a business, and it really doesn't take much to see that. And of course, I mean before the event has happened. This is a comment from a post about the event in a Facebook group. If you spent $112K on venue, as we calculated from the New Jersey Castle last year, no one in their right mind can afford a $450 to $520 ticket for one night of a ball with barely any other incentive based on their past events, failed market, swag bags, etc. And then on top of that, travel, housing, accessories, and outfit. I've said this before, but Leslie needs to focus on smaller, more intimate events that are easier to manage that can offer more perks. I wouldn't want to pay that much for a ball that doesn't have enough to offer. I've gone to many, many balls and events, and enough of them have great perks. Photographers who capture everyone. Amazing swag bags and incredible decor for the venue, all while being under $300. It's achievable, but she seems to want to continue to escalate the scale of her events to continue to turn a profit, all the while not expanding her team at all or attempting to improve the experience. I mean, it is a business, so naturally she wants to turn a profit, but she should grow her team to grow as the events get bigger. Anyways, we've seen this with the San Francisco ball, that she tends to deprioritize marketing or lead up promo for balls that don't have more to offer her than just some cash in her pocket. She and I have mutual friends, and there are definitely voices of concern. I hope in 2026 she's able to refocus, but she really is going to run herself into the ground if she continues with these massive events. Based on how slow and ineffectual her refunds were for the last ball, I can't imagine there will be a tight turnaround on these tickets or refunds either. I think this is a pretty fair assessment. Her events are way too extravagant and frequent for the people she's marketing to. I think most people would have a hard time attending more than one of these events per year, considering the price point and then all that goes with it. And when she's got one like every month, every 2 months, it seems like there just aren't that many people who are both interested in attending and can financially make it work, because that's a lot of money. All right, guys, we are finally on to the headliner of this video. The Dreamers and Readers Festival was scheduled to take place March 6th through 8th at the Gaylord Texan Resort in Dallas. As previously mentioned, this event was initially announced on May 29th, 2024, nearly 2 full years ago. And once you look at all of the individual events this weekend consists of, it honestly makes sense why it was announced so early, so let's go over that. So an expo ticket for all 3 days costs $60. Honestly, not a bad price, in my opinion. Wander the realms of this incredible 3-day expo and celebration. Author and merch vendor applications open on the Fantastique website. And remember, this was back in 2024. Now, here are all the extras that were available for day 1 of the event. So we have the Fairy High Tea, which was a VIP event that cost $75. We have the editorial portraits, which were $250, included a 30-minute session, 1 outfit look, and 3 to 6 high-end retouched images. I have no idea if that's like a normal pricing for this stuff, so I'm like, I just don't know. Now, the next 3 events are all at overlapping times, so I assume the idea is like, pick one. But unless there was some information on the website that was removed, I have no idea what differentiates these from each other. So there is a Truly Wicked Affair, and this is a VIP event, $110 per person. There is also the Mythical Creatures Masquerade, which is $130 per person. And then the Dreamers and Readers Evening Ball Night 1, which is $135 per person. And again, I think the first 2 events were scheduled from 5 to 10, and then the last one was from 6 to 11. So yeah, all at the same time. And again, these are not really even at different price points. They range from, again, $110 to $135. So my best guess is that they predicted they'd need more events to accommodate everyone that wanted to attend. I don't know. On day 2, the schedule had the expo again, the Fairy High Tea, the editorial portraits, and then we had the Morally Grey fashion show that costs $125. And in the evening, you could choose between the Starfall Ball for $135 or the Evening Ball Night 2 for $135. Again, I have no idea what makes them different. Maybe someone who was supposed to attend can explain in the comments. And finally, on day 3, we have the expo, the Farewell Fae Brunch for $75, and the Farewell Fae Bash for $110. So while I do like the idea of a sort of like choose your own adventure with the a la carte events, this feels like a lot. Especially keeping in mind the company has a permanent staff of 3 people. They also seemed to have a lot of influencers invited to the weekend. And something I didn't mention earlier is that a few years back, I can't find an exact date, Fantastique hosted a creator-only gala. I can't find too much information about it, which is kind of sad considering I assume the goal of it was for people to make content about it, but this caption from Attendees confirms that the whole event was free. It says, "High Lord has entered the dance floor. Thank you, Fantastique Collection, for this incredible day. Y'all, they threw a creator gala. For us creators, for free. Still shocked at their generosity and support for this community. Thank you, friends." This is nothing against this people, but clearly they prioritize investing in content creators, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that as long as it doesn't detract from the experience of the general population. Let's take a look at the gifts they sent out to their invited influencers before the event.
All right, book brats, I'm going to the Dreamers and Readers Festival in Dallas, Texas, March 6th through March 8th. And they sent me a package. Let's open it up. Got a nice little bow on it. Man stuff. Ooh, look at all this manly stuff. Start with the letter. I mean the letter. That's cool. You are invited to the Dreamers and Readers Festival's March. You are invited to the Dreamers and Readers Festival March 6th through the 8th, 2026 at the Gaylord Texan Resort. What else we got? We got a jar of blue powder. No, socks. Oh, it's a drinkable thing. What the hell am I saying? Couple suckers. What is this? This lip balm? Can you bring me my chapstick? My lips hurt real bad. Is there anything creepier than what we're doing right now? Making eye contact while I apply this? Ooh, look at that. I mean, my foot looks a little too big for this, but I bet it can stretch over me. That sounded bad. All right, next up we have... Is this my pass? Oh, it says creator. Heck yeah, it does. There have been moments in my life where I feel like I've made it. This takes the cake. I get my own little badge that pulls. Excuse me, sir, who are you? Can't you read the tag? Oh, also gotta put her around the neck thing. I need to learn words. This is a fantastic box. Oh, a little bookmark or a baby crowbar. Also got some peach it says peach smash on it. I wonder if they gave that just to me or if it's just called peach smash. Either way, smash. Yep, next we have blueberry coffee cake. Oh, yes. Next we have a shirt. Cool. Look at that. Smash. Thank you so much, Fantastique. I hope to see you all at the Dreamers and Readers Festival in Dallas, Texas, March 6th through 8th. Details in the description of this video. Get your tickets now, and I hope to see you there.
So, this might not be like a super luxe creator gift, but it also isn't nothing. And shipping alone on something like this is going to be a not insignificant amount. So, okay, you can get the idea of what a huge production this was to be. Now, perhaps in retrospect, there were a couple signs that maybe there was something going on, like when they offered a 2-for-1 ticket deal on February 3rd, Valentine's Day BOGO special. Expo tickets at the Dreamers and Readers Festival are buy one, get one free until February 14th. Grab a bestie, grab a loved one, and join us for this 3-day extravaganza. Or perhaps when they offered a free t-shirt and free ball ticket for each room booked through their room block that they posted about on February 9th, a mere 8 days prior to the event cancellation. They said, each person who books with the room block will get a free t-shirt from our Dreamers and Readers Expo shop, your choice of design. Each room block reservation, even for one night, will get a free ticket to a ball of their choice. Email us your booking confirmation number and we'll secure for you. Participating community meetups at join the after hours fun, yada yada. So I actually worked seasonally at the Gaylord Palms Hotel in Orlando for a few years, and these are nice hotels. Obviously, price can depend on a lot of factors, but like on an average day in general, rooms tend to range between $300 and $500 a night. So on February 17th, Fantastique made this now infamous post on their Instagram. After extensive efforts to preserve the event, Dreamers and Readers Festival has been canceled. Transparently, our contract required a minimum number of guest rooms to be booked in connection with the event. That requirement was not met, resulting in significant attrition fees that are in addition to the event expenses and that greatly exceed ticket revenue. Under our agreement, the venue requires full payment of the outstanding balance, including those fees, before the event can take place. At this time, that requirement cannot be satisfied despite our efforts to do so. Payments already made toward the event have been retained and applied to the venue contract. We understand the disappointment and frustration this brings. Dreamers and Readers was created to celebrate fantasy books, authors, vendors, creators, and the community that surrounds them. We share in the heartbreak of this outcome. Additional details and FAQs will be provided to address common questions. Leslie Hernandez, Fantastique Collection. If additional details and FAQs have been provided to address common questions, I haven't heard about it at this point. So if things weren't bad enough, this Instagram post was how the company decided to announce the cancellation. Not an email to attendees, authors, whoever, just an Instagram post. Now they did eventually send out an email, but that really should have been step one versus an Instagram post. Here's a TikTok of some content creators sharing the shock the rest of the would-be attendees and authors had.
Hey! Hi, guys! We are also very much in shock right now. Just wanted to let you guys know, for those of you that have not seen, the Dreamers and Readers Festival that we have all been working on and working towards for years at this point has just been canceled. And we wanted to let you guys know that we found out when you did.
We unfortunately don't have any extra information, and as recently as 6 days ago, the creators were acting like nothing was wrong with
No,
it.
we were all steam ahead.
We were setting a date, a time for our live show with them 6 days ago.
That we've been working on to do there, but
yeah, we really lost money yesterday, and we're very, very sorry. My heart is aching right now for everyone, but
for all of us.
Yeah, I'm so sorry this is happening. It's a complete shock.
Yes, and we know that you guys are shocked too, and we are trying to reach out to the other people that are in Texas and also other people that are trying to still get people together if, we can't cancel our tickets or anything. So hopefully we will be finding out more information about that soon. And but for right now, we're all kind of in shock.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But yeah, like Jackie just said, we're talking with some of the other creators and seeing if nothing else, we can maybe get you info about what's going on, but we may still try to go. We're not sure yet.
We're trying to see what we can salvage. We just wanted to reach out to you guys to let you guys know that this is happening if you didn't see it being posted from Fantastique, and also just to let you know that we were just as blindsided as you guys were, and we also are just as upset.
I'm so sorry to you guys. We were so excited to see you. I don't know.
It's not for us to say sorry. We just want you to know we wanted to see you. We have a show that we want to do, and hopefully we'll be coming to a con close to you in the future so we can do it.
We'll see you at RomanticyCon. We're moderating a panel in 2 weeks if you're going to that, and we'll stop and say hi to you there. And
yes, please.
More info to come.
Yes.
Okay.
You can hear in their voices how absolutely shocked and just really angry they are. And these are people who I assume did not shell out hundreds or thousands of dollars to attend, given that they were invited creators. So I was glad to see that Fantastique isn't deleting comments on the post, but also the bar is in hell if that's what we're giving them praise for. So here's a small sampling of comments. This has got to be the most infuriatingly disappointing thing I have ever seen. But you know what's worse? The fact that you announced it here, but didn't contact vendors, authors, or attendees directly. You need to clarify in very simple, straightforward language what you will be doing to Refund. Not an excuse of why you can't or won't, a step-by-step description of how you're going to make this right. For the record, I don't fall into any of those categories, and I sure as shit never will be now, but I am furious that you would do this to people again. As an attendee, absolutely and completely this. Again, yeah. Another person says, it's absolutely disappointing to see how the Readers and Dreamers Festival, with 2 years to plan, there was more than enough time to budget responsibly, secure sponsors, and build a financially stable event. Learning that the festival relied heavily on hotel room blocks to fund operations shows a serious lack of preparation and risk management. Well-run events are built on transparency, proper funding, and professional execution. Unfortunately, those standards were not met here. Beyond the financial issues, the communication and overall professionalism surrounding this event fell short. That doesn't just impact attendees. It affects the entire book community by damaging trust and discouraging future participation. Many people invested time, money, and excitement into this festival. They deserved better. Organizers should be held accountable for how events are planned, funded, and managed. Our community deserves responsible leadership, not avoidable chaos. What makes the situation even more concerning is that this isn't an isolated incident. This is becoming a pattern: poor planning, lack of transparency, unprofessional communication, and shifting the consequences onto attendees, authors, and vendors instead of taking responsibility as organizers. One mistake can be a learning experience. Repeated problems point to systemic problems. When the same concerns continue to surface across events, it's no longer bad luck, it's how the business is being run. The book community deserves better than cycles of disappointment followed by excuses. We deserve organizers who plan responsibly, communicate clearly, and respect the time, money, and trust people put into these events. Patterns matter, and accountability matters even more. Agreed. Exactly 2 years. There was time, and the time was not 15 days before the event. It's horrible how common this is becoming, makes it hard for us to put trust in anyone running an event, more people just agreeing. And this person said, it is wild that still, 2 days later, no email has been sent out, to attendees at least. It is wild that in about 24 hours, you haven't made any further statement, have given zero transparency or clarity about refunds, and where are you going to answer the supposed FAQ you were going to provide? Guess what? There's only one question, and it's this. When are we all going to get our hundreds to thousands of dollars refunded? Attendees reach out directly to Eventbrite and request a refund directly through them. Share the order number and amount total and let them know that the event organizer canceled the entire event, is non-responsive to communication attempts, and is refusing to give refunds. Let them know that you are formally requesting a refund. My friend and I both received emails several days later letting us know that our request for refund has been reviewed and approved and that we're both getting our entire ticket amounts refunded. Good luck. I hope everyone gets all their money back through Eventbrite at least. The situation has been absolutely insane. So like the gentleman in the TikTok said before, according to the Eventbrite terms of service, attendees should be pretty well covered as long as they go through Eventbrite. And I definitely say the sooner the better to request their refunds because yes, it says when an event is canceled, the event organizer is required to cancel the event on Eventbrite. That took them a while. Communicate with attendees, refund all orders, and if the organizer fails to handle refund requests in accordance with the above terms, Eventbrite reserves the right to issue refunds on their behalf and at cost to the organizer. And so here you can see someone posted this, that they did get their refund. So yay. And yeah, I've seen a few posts that they got their refunds, and I assume by the time this video goes up, there will be many more. But that's only attendees. Fantastique still has all the money from table fees and seemingly no plan on when these will be refunded. So they've placed the blame for the cancellation on not having enough people book in the room block, which is bound to happen when the rooms are as expensive as they are. So an author named Jordan A. Day is the organizer of a really successful event called Books, Gowns, and Crowns, and she took the time to explain how room blocks work, which, forgive me if this is insulting your intelligence, but I really didn't understand, like, exactly how it works as far as, like, reserving and if people don't fill the rooms. Okay, since we're being transparent, let's talk about it. Here is Books, Gowns, and Crowns room block portion of the contract for my 2026 event. Side note, if you're going to BGC, please book in the room block so I don't get hit with the attrition fees I'm about to explain. Okay, love you. Clear as throat. Sit down, children. Let's talk about attrition for events and how it works. When you contract with a hotel, you are often required to book a certain amount of rooms depending on the size of the event, as well as food and beverage minimums and other expenses. This can get pricey faux show. As you can see from Exhibit A, the pic, the amount of rooms we have blocked off, total of revenue of just shy of $320K. Does that mean the event owes that much prior to the event taking place? Nope. And a closer look at this, it just says like how many rooms they've held for each night and then how many at the end, like daily, because these are more on like standard, 1-bedroom, penthouse. And then at the bottom it says how many rooms total, like each night being separate, and the total like guest room revenue commitment, and then all of that, and then they add in food and beverage and space rentals, all of that at the next one. So Jordan, owner of Books, Gowns, and Crowns, what do you have to pay? I'm so glad you asked, my sweet summer child. Hotels require you to hit a specific percent, usually 80%, of the contracted number of rooms. We call that the attrition. In BGC's case, 80% of our peak night rooms of 325 would be 260 rooms. But Jordan, what if you don't book 260 rooms per night? I die. Just kidding. Well, it's unfortunate and costly, which is why it's always super important to book in the hotel room block. The event would have to pay the difference between the rooms booked and 80%. For example, say the event only booked 240 rooms per night out of the needed 260 rooms. The event would have to pay for 20 rooms per night times the room block cost. So 20 times 3 nights equals 60 times room block cost, 279 for BGC, equals $16,740. Books, Gowns, and Crowns would owe an extra $16,740 because we did not hit the 80% attrition. Again, I cannot stress enough how important it is to stay at the event venue. It's a great way to support the continued success of the event, just like we support the authors and vendors in attendance. So Jordan, when would you have to pay the extra money you owe because we didn't listen to you and book the room block? After the event. The hotel has no way of knowing how many rooms we are short until after the event. But Jordan, can't they see how many people booked online? Yes, however, there is no guarantee everyone who books will actually check in or not cancel before the event. There is a bill sent after the event that includes all extra expenses like AV, Wi-Fi, and attrition. Events are extremely costly to put on. In addition to how much is paid upfront to actually rent the spaces and food and beverage minimums, most contracts are well over $150 to $200K. Add not hitting attrition on top of that, you're looking at costing $300 to $400K. This doesn't include all the extra like decor, entertainment, and swag, and more. That being said, as long as a decent number of tickets are sold, it's a hell of a lot more expensive to cancel an event than just pay the attrition difference. But Jordan, how much would it be to cancel? Surely not more than paying an attrition difference. Great question. Here's a screenshot of BGC's cancellation fees and timeline. If we canceled, let's say 2 weeks before the event, we'd owe $309,722.80. For reference, that's only $10K less than our total room block revenue, which means if we booked more than 2% of our room block, 8 rooms, per night, we'd owe less than if we'd cancel, $307,597. Well, that's it, class. I hope you learned a lot. Bottom line, something is sketchy. So personally, this was really helpful for me to understand. They must have a ton of unbooked rooms for canceling to be the less expensive option. And granted, these numbers are just an example, but again, these rooms at the Gaylord Texan are really expensive. So I can't imagine that it would be any less than what Jordan mentioned in her case. But no matter how much money they were going to lose, this is like not an excuse to cancel this huge event. Once again, the poor planning, budgeting, and lack of transparency end with the consumer taking the hit. And as mentioned in Jordan's thread, it is extremely costly to put on an event. And with 2 years of planning, there is truly no reason why things should have happened like this. So I unfortunately don't have this saved with a date, but it was posted on Fantastique's Instagram stories like a day or two after the original post. Just a few updates. Attendees have mentioned they did not receive notification except via Instagram. The notification was supposed to have gone through Eventbrite, emailed to all the attendees. That did not go through. We are not sure why, but we will try sending it again. We just finished processing all the refunds for the authors and vendors. They should receive those funds back in their account within 5 business days. The venue has informed me they are working on updating the event as canceled on their end. My understanding is they were still reporting it as scheduled on their end when people called. This should be up to date soon. Don't you think it would have been like a good idea to ensure that Eventbrite did in fact send out the email before announcing it to the public? Like, this doesn't feel like something that requires like a degree in PR to figure out. There are tens, if not hundreds, of TikToks and Threads posts discussing this whole situation. But I found a couple that offer unique details. If you're sick of TikToks, I'm sorry, but I feel like these are interesting and different.
I have 120 books sitting in Dallas, Texas, because the Dreamers and Readers festival was canceled just a couple of weeks before it was supposed to happen. A lot of us have been planning for this for a year, nearly a year, minimum 6 months. 6 months to a year, we have been planning for this. This was supposed to be my biggest event ever. This was also my first out-of-state event, and I was really excited to meet readers out of state. So how much is this going to cost me? Well, I spent $1,000 if you include paperbacks and hardbacks of all of my books. I spent $1,000 just on book stock, and that was 140 books. I am saying I have 120 in Dallas because 40 of them have not shipped yet, and I'm trying to get them moved somewhere else from Ingram Spark, and I'm not sure if that's going to happen. But let's break down the rest. I was able to cancel my hotel room, so that's good. I canceled my flight, but they charged me a $100 fee, and then they also would only give me a flight credit. So now I have a flight credit on my business credit card. Cool, great. Probably never going to do an out-of-state event again. Tablecloth, this whole new banner setup that I ordered specifically to go on the table. A new custom banner. Isn't she pretty? This was my backdrop for the entire booth. Isn't that kind of cool? Zip ties to tie everything together. Special gifts for my assistants. I had 2 assistants coming. I ordered 150 bookmarks to give out for the scavenger hunt. These are more bookmarks that are my individual bookmarks that go for each purchase of the book. I ordered about 150 of these as well, so we're looking at 300 bookmarks altogether. I designed and ordered a whole bunch of brand new postcards to give out during the event. I ordered 100 of those. Also, a whole bunch of stickers to give out for the event. Tote bags, sticky things, some floral decor, more floral decor for the booth itself. I got this custom plaque made and it has my QR codes on it. I thought that was cool. Here's an example of like what I was planning for my booth. And I ordered new price sheets. This is my new table runner that I just got. New table runner to hang down the front of the table. These are actually shelves. I ordered 4 shelves that can be packed flat like this, and then they're like wooden shelves, and that's how I was gonna display my books on my table. Not to mention the fact that I ordered a gold dress, a gold cape, gold shoes, and this really cool, gorgeous headdress that was all part of my outfit for the ball.
So while plenty of the expenses that she mentions are things that can be reused and aren't a total loss, who's to say that she didn't like put this on a credit card assuming she'd make a lot of this back? This is a lot of money to have spent all at once, and yeah, now she still has to pay to have her books sent back to her home in Utah from Dallas. And that's not including how much like unpaid work she's had to do to get all of this organized, ordered, and shipped. I mean, those are so many hours of her life spent on an event that was canceled with a moment's notice. The next video I want to share is by one of the volunteers who is supposed to be working the event. Sorry, it's a little bit long, but I think it's an important point of view.
Hello, book besties. I just wanted to get on here and share a little bit about what my experience has been with being a signed up volunteer for the would-be Readers and Dreamers Festival by the Fantastic Collection in Grapevine, Texas. That was very unceremoniously canceled on social media. So I had signed up to be a volunteer a couple of months ago. Honestly, as potential situations for this go, I'm very grateful that I had signed up as a volunteer and have not bought tickets, because from the looks of it, nobody has gotten refunds for their tickets yet, which is completely insane and needs to be made right.
Obviously, that was before anything had gotten refunded.
But basically, I'd signed up. Once I had signed up for my specific shifts on a sign up that had been sent out a little while later, very quickly, I requested the time off, used PTO from work, and kind of planned my schedule around this. I was going to be volunteering with my sister-in-law. And so I hadn't heard back from them in a little while. They had talked about a training that I would need to attend, and that options for like compensation gifts for the volunteering were accommodations or tickets to the specific events like the balls. And anyone volunteering would be able to go to the expo free of charge. And so there also hadn't been any organization around that, which I have felt super weird about as more and more time passed. And I sent them an email about 2 weeks ago, was immediately met with an auto reply with an FAQ. And at the bottom it said, if the FAQ doesn't answer any of your questions, you'll hear back from Leslie soon. Another week passes. I don't hear from anybody. I replied to the auto message and sent it to their original coordinator email address and said, hey, I took time off from work for this. I just really want to make sure that everything is organized and that I am fully aware of what's going to be happening during this time so that I can make plans. I'm again met with that exact same auto reply message and then never heard from anybody. No email was sent out to volunteers. I don't know if anyone else has had a different experience, but I have not received a cancellation email as a volunteer. I found out from a TikTok message from one of my mutuals here on TikTok, and then found it on Instagram. They still haven't posted anything about it on TikTok, or they hadn't when I looked right before this. But communication has been terrible. Transparency has been terrible. And I feel like when you have 2 years to plan an event, and then on top of that are relying heavily on volunteers, you need to be very clearly communicating and taking care of not only your authors and your vendors, but your volunteers and your attendees. I'm really glad that I'm local and haven't shelled out hundreds to thousands of dollars on transportation, accommodations, etc. But I am incredibly disappointed by the way that this was handled. I don't know that I could ever have the trust to want to attend or volunteer at another fantastic collection event. This was a huge event with high name people involved, and so it was really shocking to see that this has happened and how it's been handled. I'm not sure that this group will have any success going forward. And on that note, if anybody in the DFW area or anybody who can't get out of their travel to the DFW area would like to get together and do something, some kind of book club or meetup, maybe we could all go support a local bookstore or coffee tea shop, let me know. I would love to meet up with anybody else who has been negatively impacted by this cancellation. So send me a message, comment. I would love to organize something together, and I hope I get to meet some of you very soon.
So based on her experience as a would-be volunteer, it seems like the problems with this company go far deeper than just this event. It just hasn't bitten them in the ass quite as hard until now. A couple more things I want to throw out there before I wrap up. My last thoughts on Dreamers and Readers Festival as a professional event planner and former hotelier. Event planners have access to the attrition information when planning an event like this. The planner would have had to know weeks, if not months ago, that she would never pick up the amount of rooms needed. Like I said before, a hotel wouldn't cancel an event for this reason. I think waiting to cancel until room blocks closed was intentional to ensure as much money as possible was covered. If she announced before the block closed, she would have lost significantly more money. All thoughts are my own, and these are not facts, just my understanding of how the industry works as a professional in it. Now again, this is based on her experience, but it does make a lot of sense. I can't really picture a situation as a layperson in which the event organizers weren't kept up to speed on how room bookings were looking, and I really don't understand how we are supposed to reasonably believe that this just came out of the blue. Let me remind you again, they were still posting about booking through the room block 8 days prior to canceling. If there were enough unbooked rooms that they ended up having to cancel the whole thing, they would have known that it was extremely unlikely that they'd book those rooms, and yet they were still incentivizing people that close to the event. It's just so shady. And last thing, there were a lot of folks who were telling those affected to just file a lawsuit. And unfortunately, it's just not as easy as all that. Just file a lawsuit. Babes, the Million Lives authors tried to file a lawsuit last year. Not only could none of us afford it, no lawyer would or could take our case because it gets real complicated when most of us affected weren't residents of the state in which the event took place. I absolutely hate to say this, but after what we went through last year, I'm 99% positive the Dreamers and Readers authors will be in an identical position. Most of us did not get refunds. I sure didn't. There is no accountability, no consequences beyond some bad press and public shame. That means it's up to us, and no, it's not fair, but it is what it is. We as authors simply have to stop signing up for these events, especially when we can't afford the fallout when things go south. And, you know, it really sucks because, I mean, these events are supposed to be fun and exciting. And of course, there will be like a little bit of stress, but that should not be the overwhelming feeling. And it's really a shame for the events that do an amazing job because people are just so skeptical of events now. Readers are less likely to attend events, which means that authors can't count on selling as many books, which means fewer authors are going to want to sign up. And then what? It's just really sad for something that should be like a fun and memorable experience, and for those honest companies who put on great events. So from where I stand, I don't know how Fantastique continues to exist after this. They seem far more concerned about putting on luxury events than they are concerned with operating a sustainable business. And as this is something of an ongoing situation with a lot of questions still unanswered, I'll do my best to update if there's anything big to report. I wish I could afford to buy another 5 books for you all, but I'm going to link another spreadsheet that was made by the amazing Chrissy Nicole Books with a lot of the attending authors' names and the links where you can buy their books. Hopefully, for my next video, I won't be discussing another book event screwing over authors and attendees, so I can get back to my regularly scheduled indie author features, but for the moment, my priority is sending people to check out these affected authors. So, thank you guys so much for watching, and if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, I would love it if you would. Check out my Bindery page if you'd like to support me over there, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!